So while I do get asked a lot about how to start your short-term rental business, I also get asked about how to improve your already existing Airbnb listing. And a lot of people might think that you have to spend some enormous amount of money on remodels or spend money on some additional amenities. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 ways to instantly improve your Airbnb listing for free. Let's tap in. Okay, so first thing I want you to understand is that first impressions matter. So there's actually a pecking order when it comes to the way people decide on choosing a short-term rental. Because if you think that people are just analyzing your property and trying to decide on your property, then you're highly mistaken. They have a few properties up that they are comparing, right? So understand, your first impression is gonna be key in you getting that booking. The importance of a high-quality Airbnb listing cannot be understated. It's the first thing anyone will see about your property, and if done incorrectly, also the last. Follow these 5 steps to avoid making a bad first impression and boost your Airbnb bookings through the roof. Step 1. High-quality photography, and it's crazy how so many hosts miss on this. See, the pecking order is photography, then your reviews, then your listing description. When it comes to people deciding, the photography matters the most because guess what? They fall in love with the photos first. With photography, according to an internal study, Airbnb claims that high quality photos increase revenue and bookings by 20%. Yet only 15% of hosts do it. Obviously, hiring a professional is the best way to get high quality listing photos, but there is also plenty of tutorials online to do it yourself. A smartphone camera is plenty good enough with the right framing. I think it's kind of wild that as important as photography is, only 15% of hosts are putting emphasis on confirming and making sure that it's high quality photography. And while I'm a big proponent of leveraging professional photography for your short-term rentals, you can do it with your cell phone. If you can understand the importance of daylight balancing, you can understand the importance of leveling, right? And understand the importance of framing, then yes, these iPhones and these Androids and these phones out here are definitely equipped to take some quality photos if you know how to use it. So yes, cell phone photos can work for your listing. Just make sure that whether you go professional photography photos or cell phone photos, it needs to be high quality photography. Number 2 is your description, and I mean well-written description. And it's interesting how many hosts actually miss on this as well. You don't have to have Shakespeare write your Airbnb description, but it does need to accurately describe your listing while enticing the kind of guests you are looking for. Are you advertising to business people? Emphasize the central location of your listing. Looking for families on vacation? Talk about the local safety and various activities. See, a common mistakes that people make when it comes to the description, they use is way too wordy. Like they use these big paragraphs when you got to understand people's attention span ain't that good. And of course, with social media, rising technology is going to get even lower and lower. So I like to employ people. I think it'll be encumbrous of hosts to actually use bullet points, right? What I like to call haymakers, all the dope, really nice things about your listing. 4K TVs, fully stocked kitchen, in-unit washer and dryer, things like that. You want to highlight them. Don't bury them in your paragraphs. Highlight them, right? Another common mistake is a lot of hosts try to use too many big words on their listing, like the essence of the mitochondria of whatever the case may be. Don't be trying to be Shakespeare with it. Be simple, be concise, be direct. And depending on who you are serving, you want to make sure that you highlight certain aspects of your listing that will speak to your guest avatar. If you serve business travelers, highlight the fact that, you may have a workstation, a desk, you could have a printer for them, things like that. If you serve families, have a pack and play, high chair, highlight that, let them know like, hey, we have this for you. And what I like to do when I offer pack and plays and high chair, I like to put in parentheses, you don't need to travel with this, right? Because we offer it for you already. So your description is a major part of your listing because it lets them know what all comes with it. And you want to make sure that you highlight all those key points. Number 3, Accrue 5-star reviews and testimonials. See, aside from offering 5-star services, make sure to actually ask guests to take the time to leave a 5-star review. Considering offering a repeat guest discount or some other incentive to make it worth your guests' time. The more 5-star reviews you amass, the better your listing will perform with Airbnb's recommendations and search engine. It's no secret that your reviews speaks heavily into where you rank on Airbnb. And the best way to get reviews is to ask. I think a lot of hosts just miss that on just not asking. When guests check out, part of the automated message that goes out to the guests is asking them to leave us a review. Reviews are way too important, and you want as many 5-star reviews as possible because all it does is, of course, increase your search ranking. It lets other guests know exactly what to expect with your listing. And understand, if somebody leaves you a bad review, it don't matter. Reply to it anyway, right? And it's important to understand something that Airbnb has recently changed about reviews. Now there's certain requirements that would fall under the category of when guests leave a review that will allow you to get it removed. Did they cuss at you, right? Did they cuss in the review? Or did they use the review as hostage in a way in order to get a refund, right? If they're doing something like that, then you qualify. You can reach out to Airbnb to get that review taken out. So very, very important to try to keep as many 5-star reviews as possible. Step 4, respond quickly to your guests. This is one of the key steps in achieving the coveted superhost status. When you respond to messages in a timely fashion, Airbnb boosts your recommendability. Airbnb wants to keep people using their services instead of competitors. If you demonstrate good customer service, they are incentivized to bring you more business. So here's the thing you got to understand about replies. It's actually not only is it a key step to helping you achieve superhost status, but it's also a key metric in how high you rank in your search rankings. There's no reason that your response rate should be under 100%. Because if you are doing this business right, you have automated messaging for every single inquiry when the booking comes in, any questions that they have, if somebody decides to cancel, if somebody is pre-approved, but they did not accept the pre-approval, you should have a message that goes out for that. Everything that a guest will reach out for or any kind of message triggers that happens, you should have an automated message for it. So there's no reason why your response rate should be anything less than 100%. If you're missing on your response rate, you need to institute automated guest communication ASAP because this matters greatly in how high you rank. So guys, listen, responding quickly to your guests is way too important. And remember, 100% response rate is the standard. So keep that in mind. Step 5 is to make booking easy. You see, Airbnb's job is to put heads in beds. So the easier you can make that, the more incentivized your listing will be. So at the end of the day, if you can allow the instant book feature, then that will definitely bode you well because Airbnb actually emphasizes the instant booking. And if you allow instant booking, my recommendation, my rule of thumb is to make sure that you set parameters to where they have to have a verified profile, they have to have a government ID, and they have to have a good review from another host. So if you have those turned on, it's a pretty good idea to turn instant booking on. Now, for me personally in our portfolio, we don't necessarily leave instant booking on for our bigger units. We make sure our guests request to book and we ask the questions and we approve them. We do this in our bigger homes because the bigger homes are bigger targets for parties and all the riffraff and the nonsense that can go on at your property. So be cautious and use instant booking with caution. But remember, if you use it, institute those parameters to make sure that you're protecting your listing as much as possible. Keep your calendars up to date. You know, Airbnb is major on up-to-date calendars. They look at you as an attentive host. This is why even us, we make sure that our pricing is dynamic. Our pricing fluctuates because when you change up your pricing consistently, it sends a signal to Airbnb that you are an attentive host, that you are actually a host that is taking care of your listing and providing good stewardship over your listing. So keeping your calendars up to date is important. Matter of fact, what I like to tell people to do, if you go on your calendar at least once a week or once every 2 weeks, and what I like to call agitate the calendar, agitate the listing. If your pricing is $250 a night, bring it down to $249 a night. If your pricing is $150 a night, just bring it down a little bit to $148 a night. Just agitating your calendar every once a week, right? does a lot for your listing because it shows Airbnb that you're an attentive host. But very important that your pricing is dynamic. Your pricing is not static. So keep your calendars up to date. Will always bode you well with your Airbnb listing. Cancel as few bookings as possible. You see, if there's anything that Airbnb hates the most is when hosts cancel on guests. It's not a good look. It just simply is not. Now, the thing is if somebody instant books with you, Airbnb actually allows you to cancel up to 3 times a year on an instant book. Now, what's very important with this, if you cancel an instant booking, you have to make sure that your reason for canceling is I am not comfortable. If you choose any other reason outside of that, then the cancellation will go against you, right? And so you want to make sure that you cancel as least as possible. And if somebody requests to book with you and you approve it, then I wouldn't cancel it. If you do want to cancel and you change your mind about that guest, I will call Airbnb and see if you can get it canceled with no penalty. But all in all, try your best to avoid canceling on your guests. And even outside of the repercussions of canceling, it is a major inconvenience for your guests to cancel. We want to make sure that we treat our guests with respect. When guests give you money, when guests decide to pay you for their stay, they're not just paying you for the property itself. They're paying you because of the experience that they will have. They're paying you because they trust you, that you have their back during their reservation. And you canceling on them is just one of the major tragedies happening right now in the Airbnb space. And we're losing guests to hotel as a result. Listen, all in all, we just discussed literally 5 very free things you can be doing with your listing right now to improve your bookings and improve the views in your listing. So if you saw value in this video and you are interested in tapping in and taking your short-term rental business to a whole nother level, or looking to start and scale your short-term rental business, hit the link below. We'll be happy to chat with you. And if you saw value in this, of course, smash that like button. And as always, I'll see y'all on the next video.